So my name is Gilberto. You all read at least for quite a while. I come from University of Porto. So like very close to here, but Portugal is a very small country. Very happy to meet you all, and I'm overwhelmed by all your areas of activity. Let me say that. And I hope like you guys at home like can actually hear me well, like can see the presentation in full screen mode, or if you can give like some kind of feedback, that would be great. They can. Okay, great. So my area of expertise is actually music technology. I barely work with accessibility. Let me start by saying that. So excuse me, I'm probably in the wrong room, but actually the motivation to be here, it's actually my involvement in this European project that's called Open Minds. And I didn't bring you here any kind of like fancy digital technology, but I brought you here like some kind of analog, very old technology that's called a deck of cards that you'll be able to play in a while. And our idea is really like to open the mind of people like for this idea of like how do we design for radical inclusion. In a while, like I'll be able to, or hopefully we'll unpack a little bit this concept, and I'll try to make you like go through our mindset when we actually put together like this project. And in order to do that, like let me actually introduce you here. This is one of the many successful cases that brought the team together. At the end, I'll tell you a little bit more about us. I actually saw some connections here actually with some of the partners, so I'll present you at the end. But let me actually tell you a more exciting story, I guess. So Victoria is a model. She's a singer. She's this bionic performer. She works with wearables. She works in the music industry, music technology. She also like has a step on this idea of like fashion tech, and she amputated a leg at some point in her life because she had like a complication during their birth. And willingly, she actually asked for this procedure to save like a little bit like her quality of life in the future. She used this as actually a possibility to identify something unique about her performance. And she actually was able actually to expand actually these capabilities of somehow like working with prosthetics and enhancing it like tremendously, to the point in which like she gained so many awards. She was like named like one of the personalities by BBC at some point, like one of the 100 personalities to follow. And she has like a charisma based on this like idea of prosthetic augmentation of the body. And I'm telling you this, why? Because our idea about like how to work with these people were building on many, many editions of one of these partners events. So MTF, which actually the coordinator, they put together annually like this, I don't know, like this bunch of people that are somehow like labeling themselves as well, like a little bit like as outsiders. They don't fall into any niche of music production, of science and thinking. And they come together like for a week, and they come up like with these amazing cases. And somehow like the methodology of like putting these people together, like we using like a particular selection, worked. And there were like so many great cases. People were forming communities. People were actually, you know, expanding like their value. And there was like value creation at the human level, at the personal level. And they, you know, they could actually feel themselves as part of something bigger. So we start thinking like, how do we put this available to everyone? That's where actually the project started. Like, and I was involved at some stage of this like MTF fests. These are the week-long like activities. And we really wanted like to do this idea of like, you know, how we all have like some kind of limitations. We all have like some kind of strength. And, you know, like if we focus on this, like how can we expand actually the abilities of someone and take it like to higher degree? And if that someone actually has like somehow like a special condition, it can actually like strive like towards like something unique and very different, which within the arts, it's somehow like a jewel, right? So this is basically our starting point. And then of course, like we had to frame this within some kind of like goals, and we had to put this as a proposal. We needed some funding. We wanted really to share this with a larger community, and then, you know, with hard science mainly and technology, even though our technology, let's say, it won't like get like your full attention, I guess, but it hopefully will have some mindsets changed. And we start thinking, of course, naturally that, you know, like the problem of disability, it's not a person problem. It's a problem of like the disconnect between an environment and the person. And there's nothing to do with the person itself. It doesn't really like characterize or identify them, but it's really a disconnect. So accessibility was the next natural step, right? And you all know about this, like, so, you know, ways of designing or you know, ways of providing good design for everyone to participate. But even if those conditions are met, we didn't set the stage for successful cases to rise, because it's not only on everyone can participate that some people will be able actually to shine and have like a voice or have a saying or have a sense of belonging. And this is what we actually had like this extra step and said, no, we actually need accessibility, but we actually strive for this concept of radical inclusion, which actually it's just like a change of cultural values, a change of mindset. And this actually includes accessibility in itself, but it tries to go a little bit beyond. Maybe like for the concept, I don't know if you are familiar with the concept or if you ever heard about it before today. Can you raise your hand? I don't know. Sorry, you guys. You did. Okay. So where actually, by the way? Oh, no, that's fine. So no one actually ever heard of this. So did you know Burning Man? No, it's this very famous festival. So very good for you. Like it's a very crazy festival. It means that you are very, very how do I put this? Polite people, I'll say. So Burning Man actually has like this as a, you know, as a slogan almost like for their festival. It's just about like, you know, almost like inclusivity, respect, like finding like value in this like combination of divergences. And so like, here's our next step. Like, so we want to put this together, like we got like where we want to work exactly. It's more on the conceptual level then. And, you know, like the point of what we thought, like, okay, apparently this works. We have been doing this festival for years, and this is generating actually many successful study cases that we can use. But how can we promote this? So the best strategy, we thought, it was like, let's put together a methodology, because something during this week is happening and it's working. So we want to share this with the world. Our next step, it was actually to identify funding and blah, 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 blah. This is all the boring part. And we thought like, okay, nothing better than actually like looking at like programs that want to educate people and want to educate people in a more like radical way, in a more like interchangeable way. So Erasmus was the point that where we get, and suddenly like we put like together a project that basically the most important output, it's really like to provide a methodology for thinking about radical inclusion. And this is what I'm about to present you today. And I'll do this like in a more like a mixed strategy. So I'll present you a little bit like the thinking behind that, but also like put your hands like actually working on these ideas that we have. And hopefully like we can actually get feedback from you. So you're basically working for us at this point on. If you don't want to, like, you are completely like able to shut up and not participate, but this is gonna be fun, I guess, like if you don't have any gambling addiction or anything. So we'll be using cards. That's the problem. So the two main pillars that we are working with, it's really like this idea that I have here in this slide. It's really to be able to identify and be able to emphasize with like real accessible solutions and really understand like what are the problems. And one very interesting important idea for us, it's really that, you know, like these people are integrated in the project definition and project design, and that like from the early onset, like that we identify what's the best solutions instead of the regular like pipeline in which accessibility typically comes at the end. This is like for us like a very problematic issue in which like when you discuss the project and when you define, it's almost like, okay, you project a building and then you start building all possible like, you know, additions to it, like in order to make it as accessible. And it's like building the entire process like from the other standpoint, and like trying to define actually good strategies to start immediately from there. Our main output, it's really like this deck of cards, which it's like the tool in which like we apply, or it's the starting point in which we apply our methodology. And so we have been, you are actually kind of like one of the early testers of this. I got this set of cards actually last week, and we had like our partners meeting at Albania, and this is actually the first picture we ever had like with this beauty in front of me. So you are kind of like the early testers of all this methodology. So the first thing that is very important to us, and here like we kind of like see exactly what happens in this kind of gatherings, and it typically happens everywhere. Like, you know, you identify with your people and you join, you merge, right? Like, so Barcelona, Barso, oh, sorry, I'm just lost. But you kind of group, like, right? It's normal. So my first challenge to you, it's going to be to mix you up and to merge you as much as I can, so that, you know, these conflicting actually views can generate actually more discussion and more interesting perspectives and eventually design solutions. So what I'll do right now, and probably, you know, I'll take you away from your laptops, sorry, but just leave them there, like have them, you know, have their 5 minutes rest. And I'll just number you. Okay, I'll include everyone. If someone doesn't want to, like, just please let me know, and I'll exclude you from the counting. So I'll start counting you, and this is going to be your group number, and you just like then like group. Okay, you move for a while. Sorry, gonna be okay. You can answer your emails in half an hour. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And so can we have like group 1, 2, 3, 4, or maybe? Sorry, it's gonna take a while, but you can exercise in the between or something. Se calhar um pedido que tu precisavas tirar fotos. Qual é que era o teu? Pronto, tem imensos participantes. Sorry. Somewhere there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe the last row it's better. Good. Oh, please sit. Please sit because it's not so fast. We'll get like the next hour, half an hour actually in groups. So just sit, try to be comfortable. Yeah. You guys want to just sit, like be comfortable as much as you can. So you are group 2, right? Or it's irrelevant actually the number right now. Just stick to one group. Okay. Yeah, one person will need a table. So each one of you should have like also a deck of cards with you. Maybe I don't see one. I left one. Sorry. Yeah, there you go. So hope you like the design. Very colorful. So the idea really of like this strategy is to identify personas, and for you to identify with those personas, like to go through their journey, to have like some kind of like storytelling strategy to it, and then try to make sense of what could be a possible solution to those challenges and those barriers. And in order to do that, like we define actually a strategy that, is built on 3 main blocks. As right now, like you can actually open the set of cards and you'll actually find that they have like if you look at the back, they have actually 3 different colors. Just familiarize with them. They feel good. At least they feel good for me. So what I would ask you, it's really put like the 3 colors, like somehow like in 3 different sets. And they actually account for different things. So like this pink color, they account actually for a person card. The orange color, the orange cards are for a condition, and the blue ones, the disabling environment. So this with a little bit of more detail. For example, a person card like describes really like this persona, this character that's going to be the starting point of your story. Basically, we'll come up with stories today. That's it. So it's fun, like to start today and make your brains actually work. So here's an example. Let me stick to this. I was going to read another one. So for example, like Isaiah, like everyone loves Isaiah, right? It's a 29-year-old local activist who enjoy jigsaw puzzles, charity work, and cookery. So he's intelligent and creative, but he can also be very rude and a bit grumpy. Yeah, not so much like of a great person, right? No, but this is basically like a way like to describe a person. And, this is going to be actually the starting point for you to put your imagination to work and then understand like what kind of condition actually the Isaiah has. And sorry, it was next, not. So the condition Isaiah has is that he's deaf. It could also have like a chronic fatigue condition. It could also like suffer from epilepsy, and it could also have like multiple chemical sensitivities and asthma and so on and so forth. Or it could have like, be frightened of public speaking, as I am. Strangely, that's why I speak like so fast and so loud. So the last part of the game, or the cards, is that the environment. So these are the 3 pillars in which we want to work, or for you to think about or work on. It could be like a bus, a forest, an office, a phone, a school, like bathroom, VR, like every kind of like environment that you can think of, right? So our starting point is set. The point in which you enter and you start working, it's really like to kind of come up like with a storyline that makes sense out of these 3 cards. And you kind of like start like creating this persona in your mind. And you start doing that by really like putting together the 3 elements. And this can be like 2 examples. Don't stick to it. These are just merely and very simplistic examples. I'm pretty sure with all your experience, which again, I'm overwhelmed, and I'm sorry for very simple perspective here. But for example, you could like come up like that Isaiah would find riding the bus difficult because he's deaf and cannot hear the announcements. Or Isaiah could would find actually writing on the bus a challenge because it doesn't want to tell the driver that he's deaf and he's grumpy. So it's kind of like, you know, it gives you like somehow like a bad feeling about like all of that. So now it comes actually to your turn to go through a little bit our methodology. So the first thing I'll like you to do, it's actually like to really familiarize with the cards, like group them into parts, and you know, just shuffle them. So each one of you will shuffle the cards, like otherwise, like we end up. These are brand new out of the printer shop, so just shuffle them. Otherwise, everyone will end up like with the same story. Okay, please do so. I'll do the same because I can actually work with you guys at home, and we can actually stop the. Sorry, I've been forgetting about you. My fault. I'm sorry. I can actually show you like the three set of cards, and you could work together. Like we cut like the audio from the room, and you could work actually collaboratively if you can listen to each other. You should, right? So what I'll ask you, each one of you, to do is really like to just, you know, take 3 random cards now. So let me see if I can do this properly. I'll turn on my camera and I'll show. It's going to be challenging. What am I doing? And maybe we'll show you one by one and you can take a picture. I don't know. I'll work with you guys like right away. So, and the first thing I actually want you to do is to, in between the groups, like to select 2 people. One of them that is excellent at keeping time, because we are on a very strict time basis. And the second one is actually a bookkeeper, someone that can actually have like some kind of paper in front of them. No one has a computer. I do have some. Oh, good. Like, so we have paper. Does everyone, like at least one person in the group, has a pen? Yeah. Okay, that's still possible today. Wow. You're joking, but in many classes, my students don't have a single pen like with them. It's unbelievably interesting. So let's get this rolling. So I'll come back to you guys. Actually, let's do a thing. Like, can you actually photograph this card? Or memorize it? For you guys, it's going to be challenging at home, but let's do the best. And that's the second one. I can repeat in a while, like if you need. Okay. And the last one, the environment, is the story. Okay. So, sorry, can you I'll be, every time I'll start asking things or I'll start speaking, just, you know, it's part of the game. Like you gain points if you stop immediately like the speaking and you get the attention to me. I'm getting really competitive at this point. Just speak. Can you tell me who is your timekeeper? So the timekeeper needs to have like a phone with them, like and a stopwatch. So timekeeper, like and someone that actually write down, like take notes, like really fast. So in your group, time bookkeeper, good. You have time. Wow, I would love to have the control of time. You have time and you have a book. Good. You guys, timekeeper, good. You are all set. Say it again. I'll let you know. She wants to get ahead of all of you. Sorry, like she's very smart. Say again. You take time. Good. What about you guys at home? Like, can you actually talk to each other? I'm really sorry. This is challenging for you. You are very quiet right now. So you can write me in chat. Like I keep an eye with you. I'll try to come back to you guys. So so you have shuffled them, like, so for the next 5 minutes, you'll need to come up with as many hypotheses or as many storylines. It can be very, very short that can combine actually these three people, that can combine these three cards together. Okay. Once again, like the challenge is to come up not with very refined quality ones, just come up with hypotheses, like as many as possible. So the winner is the one that has more, like hypotheses about these three cards. Okay. And you have 5 minutes. Please keep track of time and go. Estou em casa, não vou assim.
Sei que é a única que faz muito.
Ok, ou seja,
não por causa de eu ter ligado meu áudio, estava a ter feedback.
Ok, eles participam, eles participam de forma indireta.
Sim.
Pelo menos bem o processo.
Comecei com uma pessoa que
Então, vou fechar no vídeo.
We never complain about having that one which is not necessary. I don't know how to no problem. That's fine.
Texto mais a sério. Ok. Mas o processo de desenvolvimento também envolveu.
Sim, nós temos dois internos, no fundo, para validar um bocado até o material, se era flexível, mas depois, tipo, como pessoas mesmo a criar, não. Nós vamos ter um evento muito grande em outubro, que esse é que vai ser esse vai fazer a avaliação. Agora estamos a fazer 5 pequeninos grupos, um em cada parte deste aqui. Feito, veio assim que eu comecei a sim, é bastante simples, mas é isso. Posso desenhar estes.
Quando tiveram a desenhar, imagino que testaram protótipos.
E há muitos, sim, há um dos parceiros, aliás, eu acho que alguém que vem mesmo lá, é exercício, já tenho trabalhado nesta coisa, tipo, há 30 anos. Não é um mundo das artes, tipo, funciona bem, pode ser grande parte. Por exemplo, esta ideia tipo, de criar personas e não simplesmente pessoas e com identidades que as pessoas possam ter alguma empatia. Mas isto há algum pensamento, porque não estou a dizer tudo, não há tempo.
Quando estiveste a provavelmente pensar
isso. Eu usei isto numa aula de sistemas interativos. É como não era. Fazia muito sentido, podemos ser mais generalistas. Não funciona. A criação da ideia, eles não sabem. Se querem. Como é que vou avaliar cada passo? Isso é perfeito.
Este semestre não estou. É o primeiro semestre. No primeiro semestre, no próximo ano, vai dar a cadeira de. Coisa desta que estava muito
Mas podem, depois já pensei.
Está bem, sim.
Isso, nós vamos traduzir agora.
Pensando em chat GPT.
Vocês
precisam de criatividade?
É uma das coisas, aliás, na última reunião, eu disse isso, olha, vamos ter aqui um passo no meio, nem que seja para este aqui de geração assim em massa. se tiver bloqueantes com este grupo é fácil. Agora com um vizinho muito mais novo, eu corrijo o chat GPT à frente deles.
De engenharia.
Ficaram boquiabertos. Havia uma série deles que não conheciam. Eles ficaram boquiabertos sem noite. Isto. Estavam chocados.
Alguns de engenharia foi que viraram problema.
É. Eles não.
Eles são claro,
Eles estão trabalhando na direção ao fã, que é olha para o vídeo, dar uma resposta. Ninguém lhe espeta antes daquele fã. Vou arrancar aqui.
Ok.
Great. Time is up, right? Timekeepers. So, can I start with group 4? With group 4. Okay. So how many hypotheses do you have? Like, how many stories this line you have? One. That's it. Okay. Group 3. That's fine. That's fine. Group 3. How many storylines do you have? 3. Okay. Group 2. Group 2. 5. And group 1? 6. So you won. Congratulations. They won. They are taking advantage. So they're in the podium. Sorry. Right now I'll give you actually like 2 extra minutes, like for you to pick one, or for you, it's really simple. But like for the remaining ones, like I'll just give you like 2 minutes, like to pick one of those hypotheses, and actually then we'll share with everyone else both the cards and the hypothesis or the storyline that you created, like with the team. Okay, just go.
To me, the two best are with the fact of maybe maybe we can it's like taking home everything. Really develop. So and every time she has to call
I want to really start something. Achas de grupo, vamos dizer, é mais no final para o feedback, mas no final, sim, eu acho que quando eu teria uma questão, peraí, isto temos que gravar, não consigo. Um ou outro, eu vou dizer que eu não tenho que And time is up. Right. So can we start with group 2? Now, group 2. Can you come up? Can you tell us like your cards and your hypothesis?
Okay, so meet Fred, who is 22 years old and currently employed. He's dependable and polite and can become very anxious. And he has low vision. And he's in the city center. So our story is that he has a job interview in the city center and he has navigation problems to get there. He has to find this building, but has to first to get to the city center, so he has to get the bus, when he has problems, finding the bus and getting on the bus and getting to the right stop, then finding the building, and then once he's inside the building, he needs to find a room for the interview. And he's anxious, so he doesn't want to ask for directions, so he's already a bit nervous. And then when he finally gets the interview room, he has to fill out some forms with this information, like contact information of the skills and why he wants to go, different things. But the letters are very small. So because he has no vision, he has problems accessing. And finally, when he kind of manages to do it with some help, he gets to the interview, but he's already so overwhelmed by all these barriers and all these problems that he gets very nervous. And he doesn't succeed with all these skills. So maybe he doesn't get the job.
Okay. Great. Like you did an entire novel. Like out of that. Yeah, I'm super jealous. Like you did like an entire novel. Wow. That's the most exciting story, or the most long exciting. We wanted to know, like, did he get the job? Like, please let us know. So group 3, it's like we weren't really excited about also like your storytelling. So group 2. So we no 2, 3. So we are going to the middle ones. Yeah.
So when we first grew, we got Isaiah.
Okay.
Was deaf and was on the bus.
Really? Did you shovel the way? Hey, really? Okay. So I. Oh my God. So Isaiah is your person. So it's.
We draw to there.
Okay.
So we then got Luke, a 62-year-old warehouse manager.
Okay.
Who's, patient and fair and be sarcastic. Luke has asthma and in a place of worship.
Okay.
So we've got Luke will have problems with the place of worship with ventilation, by old buildings, usually, and with candles, insects, of my favorite issues. With Luke is spoken by patient, they much like suffering violence, we want to cross, and basically violence,
Okay.
and if they are approached by it, about it by someone who's on accident, if there is an issue, they might respond.
Okay. Wonderful. You get very detailed and great like stories. Sorry, I'm really surprised. Like we already ran this once and they were like 1 sentence long. So you guys are really into this. Like thanks. Great story. I think like it's quite interesting. So group 1, let's go to you guys.
Okay, so we got Marta. After Marta, so these two. She's 37 years old and she's a data journalist. And she's a very considerate, ambitious, and argumentative person. And she also wears a hearing aid, and her problem is the phone. Now, she is a very ambitious person, so she likes to interview people for her work to make sure that she gets the right information, that her articles are the best of the best. But she has a problem with her hearing aid because her phone, her company phone, from which she makes the calls, is very low, so she cannot adapt to her hearing aid. But since she's very considerate as well, she doesn't want to go to complain to the company and make them buy her a new phone and other things. So what she does is she tries to make these interviews with the interviewees by chat. Which is also a bit of a problem because she gets on the feeling when she wants to argument, she wants to express, and by chat it's a bit more difficult. Now, there was one of her interviewees who said, no, I'm not doing it by chat, I will do it by phone, and it was welcome. But of course, she couldn't adapt it to her earphones, and also her office is a shared office, so it was rather noisy, so she had to miss that interview, and she missed an interview with a very interesting person, so it was
Okay. Wonderful. Great. Once again, like your stories are all like very detailed and going to be super exciting for the last part of this exercise. So what about you?
And yes, she had cerebral palsy, and we put Marty in place to work for the school. So, Marty Monson speak and feel, but she moved to the program. And whenever she wants to pick up this child from school, that's a big problem because the school at home and has many large stairs and there's no lift. So Fatima doesn't want to speak about the condition, but she really has a problem to go to the school whenever she's called to talk about life.
Great. Wonderful. Like that's a very also detailed scenario that goes even a little bit outside the cards, and that's really exciting. Like, this is the starting point of the persona. You kind of guys like enlarge a little bit like the scenario, which is amazing. So I'll give you another like task. This one is a little bit like cumbersome, like, because I'll basically ask you for 2 minutes, and this is very, very short, to negate your hypothesis. So try to come up like with an explanation that says that, that person actually, it's not like likely to have that storyline, okay? And actually come up like with a completely different opposite, explanation for those 3 set of cards, basically, okay? Did you, did you get like, I'm just looking at you like you're looking very scared. So come up like with an explanation of why that could not actually ever work, okay? And come up with an entirely different explanation. So maybe I couldn't get like Fatima. Maybe actually she, like the school had like excellent help, like and excellent providers that could actually take the kid to the school door. Like come up with an explanation that actually like contradicts entirely like your hypothesis, okay? 2 minutes. It's really challenging, but I'm pretty sure you can do it. É para eles há tantas hipóteses que perder todo. A realidade é assim. E para a indústria é fatal. Porque também é vantagem estar num projeto de experiência, temos fazer esta dinâmica. Mesmo assim é bastante dinheiro só para fazer um século. Tem muita viagem logo. No final, depois eu vou anunciar no final do livro, para estamos com 250 pessoas. Alguns conteúdos que querem sempre. Assim, vão todos. Vai haver uma combinação local, e também alguns vão exatos no call. E bem, a combinar a logística depois vai ser. Fazer tipo uma semana intensa de trabalho em que depois sim envolve tecnologias e comunicação. Estamos a desenvolver também um pouco de valor e que foi basicamente uma multimodalidade, que é também muito puxado a ver o que se faz. Acho que mais protótipo, não sei, ideias. A primeira pergunta, sim, eu estou a fazer. Olha, eu não foi. Ele fez isto porque outra caça era isso. Não são as investigações ali, eu fiz uma vez e estou entusiasmado. Really sorry. Like I feel that
Time is over.
I'm really sorry. Like I will strangle your very large story. Like, okay, can we go now? Like let's start like actually group 4. And so I think like still group 4. Sorry, I'm terrible. 4. Come on, I could at least learn this. So 4, 3, 2, 1. Right. So what your negation, like of right.
And the next one, there's just an elevator.
Right. Great, great, excellent. I couldn't, come up with better negations actually. So you are three. Yeah, I'm going like 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
So possibly we
Got it.
place the washer.
Right. It could be, sorry.
That's a ventilated.
Right.
Asthma. And if you use alternatives, or like the incense, here,
Right.
also there was a like first user and here
Right. Great. Wonderful. Perfect. Can we move to 2?
Who now has an app of his phone around to use smartwatch that has a navigation app that lets you know which bus to take and lets you get the building center. Then in the beginning itself, it's accessible because it has various signs and you can see what it is and how it's known. And then when you need to fill out the forms, they have a website that you can ask for a bigger font and also do the form online. So there's a screen that you can learn. And then if it's not nervous anymore, you can do an interview and show the skills.
Yeah, like and the end. That's very positive. Good, thanks. So what about you?
We have Marta, who works in a very inclusive company. So when she was employed,
Right.
we asked her what her needs were. So when she has to interview someone, she might be able to work from home, or she might have been given a new phone, or also she might be given a private office.
Great. Wonderful, Marta's life. Solved. Wonderful. This was actually the first part of our methodology. It's like this, like brainstorming, like so would go on actually by selecting a different set of cards, maybe trying to adjust like to only one and then like swapping another set. So like to try to see how the same person with the same traits, like with different environments and different disabilities actually would act and would feel. Like this would be like the next step. Like we won't have time to do this and I'll spare you like the effort. Otherwise, would at the end like would write like short novels here. It's my feeling. So the next obvious step was really like to try to see how the same person like really behaves in different environments, or how these storylines actually change, or if they not actually, or if the same problems actually arise. Then actually this is the first part of like call to action. So what we want is that like our methodology actually ends up being like the creator of like the design solutions that hopefully will make like a better world. So the important step here is really like to do a reality check. And it was a little bit like what you were kind of doing at the end, but of course there are better strategies. So at this point in the methodology, would actually teach our participants, students, whatever they are, like about like some fundamental, I think, elements that for us are really important. And one of them is really design principles. And this, I won't even touch them because this is like a completely different like talk, like hour-long talk. But also like touch like this idea of field and practice-based research, and most notably like this idea of digital digital assets gathering. It can be digital, it can be also analog, like for that matter. For digital assets, what we mean is really like some kind of like reality check of your situations, your stories. And this is actually your next task. So you have even less, you have 1 minute to come up like on strategies on how would you verify if your storyline is actually plausible. How would you go to the world and make sure that, people that actually follow that persona have that condition and can actually verify that your story is true and that actually happens and like somehow like face the real world. So how would you do that? What would you do? It's up to you. Okay, 1 minute. It's really tough, but it's just like actions. It's topics. Okay. The first one. Sorry, it's the first one. It's your iPad. Let me restart. Like it's a very good question. So go back to your first story, which your very long stories and very complete stories. Okay, go on. And time is up. Hey, you're losing points. Come on. You're talking. You're losing points. No one cares about me anymore. Hey, it's gone. So group one, what do you got? Group one. I'm really dumb. I'm really sorry. It's what college professors are. Anyway, we got trained so much for this.
We verification from both sides, was asking people in deaf associations if they have this experience. And then we would also ask people from this hypothetical company what they think about the accessibility of the company.
So basically you do a lot of interviews, like to these like very like target groups. Group two.
So we do interviews as well with the people who have low vision and the people who are
Sure. Industry of?
well, in this case, where people go to the
Right. Okay. How they conduct this and great. Group three.
So go to the place of worship.
Good.
I mean, the first two interview questionnaires, but people are probably not.
Right.
Great. So instead, we could monitor the air quality.
Okay. Good. This has not been done, I'm pretty sure, actually. So it's very clever. Like if they are willing or not actually to talk to you, and how you can bypass actually that altogether. Good, great. Okay.
And second one was 4 groups to serve your house.
Okay, great. So you gather actually data, existing data sets, like maybe look for that. Like, great. Yeah, there are many other strategies that you can actually put here. Like, but basically, like this digital asset scattering, it's actually it's the first like encounter with the real world, and where you would put like your hypothesis to testing is the first step towards that. And you'd really collect like some valuable information for you to actually start working from that. Is this actually a real problem? Is that like a more pressing one? So how can we, photograph, or like, the best way we can photograph, make evidence that, that's a real thing, and work towards that, like, and have like a real grasp on the, this disconnect between actually the person and their environment. So the next step actually that we are putting together, and this is where we are a little bit more like involved. It's really on this technology development. I didn't say actually before, like, so I come from an informatics department. That's why I was really scared, like, to start talking about radical inclusion to all of you, because it's scary. Like, you know so much more about this than I do. So the last part, it's really like to put like people actually in contact with strategies that today are very affordable, but that could actually like, look into multisensory capture and multisensory activation, like of whatever reality you are talking, like sensing actually multidimensional aspects of the real world, like, you know, vision, haptics, any kind of like biosensing like data. And I think you'll hear about this today. I'm pretty sure, at least like one of the talks are. So I'll skip this a little bit. Like I won't explain you actually this board. This is what we are in the making. It's still in the making. Like it's not working actually right now. The ideas are there, but this needs to be actually fabricated. What I want you to ask again, like, and sorry, like your brains are really tired of hearing me, but I'll give you actually another like 2 minutes, and you actually need to come up actually with two things. I'll do this like in combination. I'm going to give like 1 minute for each. So timekeepers, do your job, like 1 minute for each task. So come up like with a technology that could solve your problem, or an idea, or like some kind of like inspired maybe by this or not. You can go elsewhere, like it's your choice. Technology that could eventually, you know, track the air quality. Like this is the one I you know, you already said it. So and something that actually can actuate on that, like that could, I don't know, prevent like whatever, or like monitor or warn people, whatever it is. Like, so based on these ideas, just grab some topics or keywords and come up with a technology. And then like, what would you need actually to put this in the real world? Who do you need? If it is like just money, if it is like some association behind you, if it is like political, I don't know, influence, whatever it is, like what do you need actually to put this together and, you know, alive as a project? Okay, go for it. 2 minutes, 1 minute for each.
Universal following then you can agree
Time is up. Sorry. So let's start again, like actually by group 4. Good. What do you got? Great. What do you need to do that? Well, I don't feel that you need that much actually money like to put together all of that. Some of them are very simple. It's like just a mind change. Like, and great. Please do. And if you have any kind of chance, like to do this at your local area. So 3. What you got?
So drawing at the center. You attach it to the third in the center. Have it kind of balancing up.
Great. Okay.
So that way we're not saying times and but it's going to be
right. Control. That's like good.
The church to agree with.
Right.
Compromise. And putting money to fund the creation.
Great.
And we need a technician.
Great. Great. Good. All good stuff. Great. 2.
And we keep the money also in the program, which is very interesting. We just need people to be willing to implement.
Right. Great. Yes, that's I think the general problem of in all of this. In fact, like that's a great thing. So about you, what your solution and the possible needs?
Our solution is to create an universal pyramid that can adapt to all phones.
Right.
So like there is now a universal charger, but for pyramid.
There is.
And for a meeting, it would be there would have to be political involvement. So we want it to be achieved for free if possible. And there should also be an agreement with all partners to say that they would use it like as it is found on now with the
Okay.
charger.
So basically, some kind of like standard, like for hearing aids and great. Why do you think that doesn't exist?
It doesn't,
But why do you think that?
because it's the same problem as we have before with the charges. So each company wants you to invest
In their-
use your money with them, and then they have a better one in another company, then you buy the new one,
Right.
and then you also buy the.
So what we need to, solve this all together?
We need political.
Sure. Exactly. It all goes together, of course. Like, but it's basically like a political decision at a higher level. Right, exactly. Yeah, that's it. Right. Right. It shouldn't be like a commercial decision. That's or at least like a profit-based decision. Great. I don't know if you noticed, like, but in total, it took you like about 10 minutes to come up with an idea, some kind of like reality check of that, and finally like to come up with some kind of technological solution that you'd have like actually a week long now to develop within our methodology plan. So what I can and would love actually to do now, it's really like to present you this. So our methodology, it's in the developing right now. Like we didn't really finalize. This is the very first step towards finalizing it. But we are actually basically using a lot of like groups like to test actually these ideas, to come up with feedback. And since we are already a little bit tight on schedule, like I would love, if you have any ideas about like, oh, this step in the methodology didn't work, or this one was really great. It made me really think about like what, like what this actually person could or couldn't be, or what they could use. So, any kind of feedback at this point for me, it's extremely valuable. And it will be, considered and included in the project. And hopefully in October, and you are more than welcome to apply. So we're having like this Creation Innovation Lab in which we'll be selecting participants worldwide, and you'll be actually joining us in 4 different locations. It could be online as well. Like some people outside of these locations can actually go to Stockholm. We have a couple of funding like to actually fly them there. And the idea is really that you go through this methodology. You'll be actually learning about some of these topics, about practice-based research, about like digital assets gathering, about fundamentals of research. But anyway, like you are all versed in all of this, so it's a bit like you'd go like jump directly into actually this idea of brainstorming, like coming up with solutions, and this hopefully will actually put together people in diverse areas of art, science, and technology, like to come up with something that is of social value, or human or personal. It can be a personal growth. It can be like actually a more like larger than that. But hopefully someone will gain from this experience. So applications will open soon. I probably can get like access to your mailing list or the mailing list of this workshop, and I will try to get to you at some point where we open actually the applications. So this is our website. Actually, the methodology is very, very well explained there. Like pretty much like if I can actually have like, 2 seconds of your time, just mail me. I'll be here just today, unfortunately. And I can't be here tomorrow, like for many, many reasons, including professional ones. And I would love like just to hear like some thoughts that you think, oh no, this part it's extremely excruciating. Like we need like some step before. We didn't understand this. The cards were hard to read. Like it feels bad. Like I don't know. Like I hate like this plastic field. I don't like the colors, like whatever it is, or maybe there's like an important step that you are missing. Like you guys really know a lot about this. So please let me know any thoughts that came through your mind. And this is my last slide. That's very cute. So I hope you had like a good time. And bye. Anyways, this is my email. Like if you have any thoughts, also you can just use it.